to be here. I've been a big fan of Generalist World from the wings for a long time, and gosh, I considered myself a generalist for years, but I didn't even know like what that was. Like the two terms that I found over time that I really fit into were like automation no code weirdo guy who does a lot of things and just overall generalist because I go like 2 inches deep and like 100 miles wide on all of the things from like marketing to content to sales to product. I definitely feel at home in this group. uh, as I just said, my name is Philip Lakin. I'm calling in from Atlanta, Georgia. I'm the head of enterprise innovation at Zapier. I joined about a year ago by way of acquisition of art, the Claudia and Phil community that we had started called No Code Ops that also had a related SaaS platform called Operator. And Yeah, we've been at Zapier a year. We've been absolutely loving it. And the goal for today is it's kind of two sections that I want to talk about. The first section is like, my journey on this front and how AI and automation has helped every step of that journey, and how AI and automation can help you achieve any of those outcomes that I've had along my journey, to give you the maximum amount of optionality. Do you want a raise? Do you want to work at a new job in a new role? Do you want to become a freelancer or agency owner? Do you want to start your own company? All of those things I have done, and all of those things get accelerated by AI and automation. And so we're going to talk about that from like a journey and kind of tactical and a little bit of philosophical level in the first half. And then in the second half, I don't like to do any talks unless I get hands-on and build some stuff because I think it just makes it more real for folks and less scary. So in the second half of the call, I'm literally just going to be building for you a Zap in front of you that shows you the difference between an automation, an AI-powered automation, an agent, and what we call an agentic Zap. So you start to understand the differences between all of those, and none of them are that scary, and they're really, really approachable. And you can also do them in any system that you like. I, of course, use Zapier because I'm a bit biased because I got some stock in the company. Here we go. Um, Before I begin, though, before I jump in, Claudia, do you want to give a quick intro on yourself? And Claudia is going to be with me through this whole talk. She's been with me on a lot of talks, and I don't like to go anywhere without an adult in the room. So that's Claudia. Claudia, you want to give a quick intro?
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Phil. I absolutely love jamming with you. Like we've been doing this so many times, and it's always a pleasure to meet new folks, around the web. And I have to say, you can tell straight away that this is a nice group because it's one of those rare moments when you have more people than you have bots. Because like I don't know about you guys, but all the Zoom calls that I've been joining lately, it's like me, maybe another human, and 7, 8 recording bots in the chat. So yeah, thank you, Generalist World, for keeping it real and keeping it human. I lead community at Zapier. I'm a senior community specialist over there. In particular, I manage the no code ops community that moved over to Zapier last year. Actually, it's our year anniversary, Phil, today
Oh my
or
gosh.
this month. Yeah, happy Zap anniversary. But yeah, I've been in the space, for more than 4 years now. And just like you, I guess, and similar to what Phil was saying, I didn't quite know what the word generalist world was until I guess Millie gave it a purpose and a name and an amazing group of people that we have here today. And I come from a completely different background, used to be a teacher in primary school, and then kind of, grab those skills and up level myself. And here I am today working at Zapier in one of the most amazing companies in this industry. So I'm very grateful, and I'd love to hear about your journey. So I'm very passionate about helping people. Obviously, I'm a community person myself. And so what we want to do whenever we host this type of events is to make sure that they're as valuable to you as they are to us. So please do let us know like where you're at on your journey, whether it's, your generalist journey, whether you maybe use Zapier and you want to become a better user or make a profession out of it. We're going to see a beautiful path that Phil is going to present us today on how you can pick and choose your journey using our platform. But would love to hear where you're at today so that we can start working with you and helping you move one step further. So Phil, should we get started?
Let's make dreams.
Let's make
So awesome. Okay. First thing that I want to start with, y'all, is just like a bit of my story because I feel like in the no code ops community, we always found like sharing our stories is always really helpful, just a way of identification and And so this is kind of like my, let's call it my generalist qualification story, right? And how automation helped me at every step of the way. And let me know in the chat if any of this sounds familiar to you. So I did not start my professional career in the world of business or tech. I did not mean it to go into the world of business or tech. I never thought I had any business being in the world of business or tech, right? I went to school for theater. For the first 10 years of my professional life, was an actor. So I did everything from like Law and Order and Gossip Girl to films in Cannes and Tribeca Film Festival. Yes, I have an IMDb. Yes, you can look at it. It's real. And when I was an actor, I was like a super mediocre waiter when I was living in New York. Like I never really got into like fine dining. I was like kind of like a diner waiter. Fun fact is like I don't drink alcohol, so like I'd always like make up my wine knowledge. And one time someone asked me like, "Oh, is this wine dry?" And I replied, "No, it's wet. It's it's a liquid." So like that's how bad of a waiter I was. So I ended up falling in love with like just randomly like with guerrilla marketing and promotions. So like street team marketing, guerrilla marketing, direct to consumer marketing, just right on the streets of New York City. And I loved it so much I eventually started my own business doing that. I employed all my other unemployed actor buddies to like go out and be street team promoters. And I found that the best clients were B2B tech companies and worked with a bunch of companies there, and then found out that one of those companies wanted to acqui-hire us and bring us on, me and my team on full time to their company. It was a company called Get. It's an Israeli-based Uber competitor. They have offices in London and Russia and all over, and they had a big office in New York at the time. And so they said, "We want you to use your street team not to get customers, but to get drivers." It's like, great. Well, do what I was comfortable with, right? I sent street teams out to the places drivers hung out at. We had flyers for them and but the conversions were really low because we'd have to like get the driver to take a flyer, take a half day of work off, come to our office, park in Midtown Manhattan, which is terrible, right? And everything we were doing was by paper, so it would take like 3, 4 hours for them to get out, and it was nuts. So what the CEO at the time challenged me to do was like, "Hey Phil, can you come up with a way to onboard these drivers in the field so they don't have to come into the office?" And I said, "Yeah, sure, I can figure that out." And he's like, "Also, can you do it with tech so we don't have to do all this pen and paper stuff and get going faster?" I said, "I mean, sure, if you give me a tech team or some devs, I can figure that out." And he was like, "No, no, no, you're ops. Like, figure it out." Rick, anyone in the chat, feel free to throw an emoji if you've ever heard that response from a senior leader. Like, you're just figure it out, man. I love it.
Still, I
So
also remember when we started No Code Ops and I was looking for our first members in the community, and I would clearly see who they were because obviously you gave me the brief and you're like, "Claudia, this is like the new profession is being called No Code Ops." And so I went hunting in the wild and I was like, "Oh, hey, I see you're a no code operator and we have this amazing community. Would you like to join us and grow with us?" And so they would get back to me and be like, "What's a no code operator? I don't think I am." And I was like, "Okay. Do you use any sort of CRM? Do have you built a database?" And they're like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah. I use something called Airtable." I was like, "Oh, great. And do you automate? Do you connect any of your apps? Do you do things automatically that you don't manually do yourself?" And they're like, "Yeah, I use something called Zapier, I think." And I was like, "Okay, welcome to the world of no code." And you
You're
can,
one of us.
yeah, you're one of us. Put that on your CV, get a raise. This is the new career. And this was like 2 years ago, and there's so many
And
things that have
we're
changed.
going to talk exactly about how to repackage yourselves in this new world because that what Claudia just talked about is much harder about 2, 3 years ago to do. It's much easier to do today, and there's more demand than there ever has been before. And we're going to talk about how to leverage your superpowers as the person to figure it out and how that translates into this new world of AI stuff. It's really cool. Um, so what did I do? I figured it out. I did a lot of Googling and experimentation, and I eventually figured out that I could use tools like, so I used Zapier, Pronto Forms, and Google Sheets to build a way that you can onboard a driver in the field in 20 minutes with no internet connection. And eventually they'd be driving for us within one day and everything was automated. And I was blown away that I could do that, right? But it also felt kind of oddly easy for me because like it was hard to figure it out initially, but it just clicked in my brain. I liked systems, I liked making sense of things. And I didn't know that that was a superpower that didn't come as easily to other people. And so, what happened to Get? I went through my rite of passage in tech. Uh, Get shut down their US office because they merged with another company that took over US operations. And so they brought us all into this very nice room in this hotel, the entire staff, 50 of us. And I saw the really expensive Fiji bottles of water on the table. I was like, oh, it's just not going to be good. They got the good water. We're fucked, you know? And they let go of the whole company. And that was my experience with like being, laid off. And so it took some time and I was like, here's the problem. I don't know what I am, right? Like I did all this stuff there. I don't know if other companies need onboarding help. I don't know if they need my skills in this front. So I just like tried 100 different ways to talk about myself. Um, and at one point it clicked because this company reached out to me called Compass, this real estate tech company. And they were like, we need help from someone who can help us scale our onboarding program across the US. And I was like, oh, I can do that. And they're like, but you're gonna have no dev support. I'm like, oh, I could really do that, right? And so I got that job. And I almost I think I doubled at that point my salary because like what they wanted was so specific, what I had to offer so specific. Um, and yeah, that's where I like really cut my teeth on just like scaling at a big company, like, taking them from 5,000, or sorry, it was like, I think like 3,000 real estate agents all the way through 15,000 and going public, found the right tools. So worked with tools like Enboarder for onboarding, Zapier for connections, Google Sheets, DocuSign. I worked with all these tools. I bridged them all together to build our, compliant, scalable, regionally specific, but nationally trackable onboarding program for all of our real estate agents across the US.
Yo, I have a question for you here that I
Yeah.
think would be very beneficial to our audience in the
Yeah,
room.
sure.
Because that sentence you just said resonated with so many folks. Like, I don't know what I am. And I feel being a generalist, sometimes you can be a victim of,
Yeah.
sort of feeling. So is there anything besides your technical skills that helped you understand what you really wanted to be?
Yeah, it's a good question. First of all, I'm still figuring out what I want to be when I grow up for what it's worth. Because I don't know. But let me say this. I've got some good news and bad news on that front. Let's start with the bad news. The bad news is no matter how good you are at being a generalist, most of the world doesn't even know that term yet, and they're not going to package you or value in that way. That sucks, right? I wish, and it's just, and I know this by heart because this is the same thing that no coders went through, right? Like no one like that 0.1% of the hiring market understood no code and valued it for what it was. For everyone else, it was just a part of what we did. And that's why there's jobs like sales ops and marketing ops and people ops, right? Because that is the way that they derive value from that skill set. So the bad news is that people are not going to value you for exactly what you know yourselves as, what this community is for, what you're going to do unless, Millie, was like, hey, I got the best generalist, come find one, right? But like usually that's not going to be the case. Now, the good news is that you are literally at the best time in the history of humanity to be a generalist. And that repackaging is the simplest and easiest it has ever been to do. And you have more optionality because the world of AI. Let me just explain that briefly. The problem the no code movement had, right, which is, by the way, what all of you have probably done as like systems people and figure it out people at your companies. The biggest problem we had was that people didn't believe that it was that easy to do. They thought that developers should be doing like way more and they didn't trust it. Or the CEOs and the mainstream world never understood this stuff. So we were never in the zeitgeist. There is a before and after moment when it comes to no code. There was before the Shopify memo leaked and after the Shopify memo from Toby leaked. And once that leaked, something just magically clicked in the world where every CEO is like, we want that. We want people that are doing that. We want people that can help people enable that. We want people that can train on that. We want that. More of that. I don't care how much money it costs. And all of a sudden, these skills that we have as no coders and generalists are now the highest skill in demand even if you're not really good with the tools yet. I argue the tools are not even the problem. The problem is that most folks on this call don't know how to bridge their skill to being one of these things over here. And these things over here are AI enablement professionals, AI generalist professionals at companies mixing AI generalists and automations like my phenomenal wife has done with her career. So my wife is in HR, and now if you look, her name's Alyssa, Elyssa Lakin, Lakin, on on um on LinkedIn. She works at a company here in the US called Alma. She advocated for herself to now she has automations in her title in the people department, which is so cool, right? So like it took her a while to even figure out how to package and promote herself, right? But like you can attach it to something like my wife has done, right? Um, or you can go out and be a freelancer in the space. You can start an agency. You can do, there's all these different paths that are available to you. Or you can just use what you have and just go out and get a new job like I did, right? I did it by force, but you could do it by, not being forced out through layoff. So we're going to talk about that identity, right? You've got to, all of you are going to have to find that middle ground between that kind of Venn diagram between what does this new world want in terms of AI and skills in these different fields or these different industries? What am I really good at doing? And what brings me joy? And you now have more optionality to find the middle of that. That middle part of the Venn diagram has grown significantly, and I'm telling you, there is way more demand than there could ever be supply on this front. And the thing that generalists can do better than anyone else around the globe, and this is why I think you're the best suited to take advantage, and you're going to be the leaders of this next world of AI, is that you know that you can figure it out. And that one skill is the one thing that is missing from the 99% of folks that will never make it far with AI. Half the time I'm building an automation or an agent, I don't even know if it's possible. But I don't care because I have that generalist mindset of I'll figure it out.
Yeah.
And the tools are so good and powerful nowadays that 90% of the time I'm able to figure it out. I'll watch the YouTube video, I'll read the forums, I'll ask ChatGPT for help. But with the right tools and the right mindset, anything is possible in ways that it just wasn't 2 years ago. And the funding and the wherewithal to know that people want the skill to either enable their whole workforces or to just have someone on a team or have someone at their company to do this type of work and innovate in this type of way. That's what the world is looking for. So with
Phil,
that, yeah, Claudia,
you
questions.
mentioned, because I don't want people to step away and start reading articles, you mentioned the break point being the Shopify memo. Could
Yeah.
you tell us what that was for people
Yeah,
that
so really quick, the Shopify memo is basically the CEO of Shopify, who a lot of people respect in the space as a thought leader, right? He was just like, look, that we're done. We're going AI first as a company. If you're not spending time doing AI, if you're not spending a certain amount of time on AI tools every day, if you're not learning and educating yourself about this front, you no longer have a place at this company. That like point blank. Like you are wasting time and dollars on things that shouldn't be because you're not playing around with these tools and getting and going first, right? Is this a sales call for are am I in the
EQ?
wrong call? Are we selling something? Did I sell something? I,
Not yet, at least.
I'm selling you on you. There's no courses to buy. There's no platform. I have nothing to sell you. I'm good, right? Just to be really, really clear. I want you to walk away being like my generalist self can make way more money than I'm currently making by taking any of those career paths. That's the goal. Um, yeah, a little bit talk. You can be a Zapier partner, but honestly, I don't even care. You might like other tools. That's totally fine. But I just work at Zapier, so like if you want to use Zapier, cool. And I'm going to show you some Zapier stuff, but like you can use them on any platform that makes sense to you. I really don't care. I want y'all as generalists to find your place in the world. That's what I care about. Okay, so going back to it. So uh my story then went on to, right, like I eventually started a community very similar to Generalist called No Code Ops. Started as a newsletter, became a community, found Claudia, um, and built out a whole company where a lot of the work that I did internally was with no code and AI. And a lot of the work that I did to raise $8.5 million in venture used automations and AI, right? And then eventually we were acquired by Zapier. And now I work at Zapier, and AI is a part of what I use every single day. It's part of my content creation flows. It's part of my sales calls that I do that are very different than this, I promise you. It is part of all of the pricing, packaging, and strategy work I do internally. I am talking out loud every day to my ChatGPT instance and building agents and workflows in AI, probably for about an hour or two a day. So I'm in deep on this stuff. So that's my journey. But what I hope you got out of that. Oh, and also, by the way, we also had but between us building software and at No Code Ops and being a community and going full time, we actually, when it was just me and my co-founder and I, Brent, we actually built a services business where we sold this kind of services, AI and automation, to businesses like Coinbase, where we would sell $140,000 a year contracts that to just be like generalists for them, right? That were like 10-hour. It was like I think it was like 10 to 15 hours a month of our time, and it would be 140K a year. And so that's possible too. So I want you to know that you can totally do that as well. Um, so I say all of that not to just say, like, oh, here's my story, how cool it is. I'm saying that like I'm not bullshitting you when I tell you that AI and automation and understanding the fundamentals there have helped me as a service provider, help me as a business owner, help me as an employee, help me get a new job, help me get raises, right? Help me do all of those things. And that's what I want for y'all. And the best way to start with that is I'm sure a lot of you know the tools and systems, but I want to start teaching you how AI fits into automation. So that way this can increase your vocabulary and your knowledge base. So that way you can put that AI premium on yourself to go out and charge 2, 3x more for whatever you're doing, because that's what the world wants right now. So,
I've
Claudia,
think
any
more
questions from the
about,
group, from the chat,
yeah,
or
I'm
before I jump in?
just thinking about, that comment about sales, which is like what Phil and I are really passionate about is to make sure that you guys don't stay behind, because that's, we see that in the community, we see that in the, wider industry on LinkedIn and whatnot. And there's so many people, like we do a ton of these talks and hackathons and meetups, and there's so many people that still don't use any of these platforms. When you talk about AI, they immediately think about Chat GPT and that's it, right? There's so much more to it. And if you want to get a step ahead, if you want to get yourself hired, you need to cross that line. You need to cross that line. You need to start getting creative and crafty with all these tools and platforms out there. We
Yeah.
started using no-code tools before, joining Zapier. Like we had an immense tool stack at no stops, right? And again, I was a teacher and I ended up managing and scaling a community to 2,000 people by myself, building systems, automation, CRMs. I knew nothing about that, but I learned quickly thanks
Claudia,
to these platforms.
are you okay telling like people, like not the exact numbers, but like on a multiple, like how much you increased your salary on a multiple basis over the course of a year and a half?
Yeah.
Okay. Claudia 4x'd her salary in a year and a half with when she came into AI and automation, right? So like that's insane, right? And so that's what we want to do with you guys. And there's never been a better moment in history to do it, which it's right now. So, hell yeah, let's go. We're just going to jump right in and I'm going to show you some cool stuff. And Claudia, if people have questions in the chat along the way, feel free to just call them out. But what I'm going to do for you is I'm going to give you this is like the kind of demo that made me infamous in Zapier, because now I've delivered it about 50 times, and every time people are just, I think it makes things click. So I hope this makes things click for you. So I'm going to share my screen. And like I said, I'm doing this in Zapier. There's plenty of different platforms you can do this on, right? This is just one of the many. Okay, so I'm going to start here. What I like to do is I like to describe what is the difference between a Zap, a standard old automation, right? An automation with an AI step, an AI agent, and then combining all of those into an agentic workflow. We're going to talk about all four of those, and I'm going to build it live in front of you. So I'm sure everybody here has seen this page before, been on this page. This is just simply Google Forms. You just use it to create forms. And all I've done, just the only thing I've done in advance here is just create a simple sign up form for a website, for a business, right? So it has the full name, the company name, the URL, your role, etc., right? And I have some responses pre-baked in there, some sample responses. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to use this form as a basis to learn all four of those things in the next 30 minutes. So here we go. This is Zapier, it's my homepage. We have a bunch of different tools in Zapier. I'm not going to cover them all, but like we're just going to start with Zaps today. So I'm going to go and build a Zap from scratch. Now, in Zapier, we do make it really easy for you to just start building, right? So you can literally just type what you want, like, uh, when someone submits a form, store contact in Salesforce, route to the right rep based on this CSV, whatever. You can just write that and it'll start building and it'll just build it for you, right? I don't like to use this though in these sessions because I like to show you hands-on how to build first. And that way, this is something that will speed you up later. But just so you know, you can just go from sentence to actual Zap. So trigger. Every Zap is made up of two components, one trigger and one or many actions. So trigger is what happened to wake this automation up? And that could be a multitude of things. That could be, you changed the status on a field, somebody submitted a form, something changed in a system, but it could also be time based every day, every minute, every hour, whatever, right? So for this one, very simply, we're going to use Google Forms. So Zapier has 8,000 different apps that you can connect to. And if it doesn't connect, you can also always use webhooks, which is what my wife is famous for at her company's using rippling webhooks in Zapier. And the trigger event is just going to be a new form response. And the account, we're going to use my Zapier Google account. We're going to authenticate that, and we're going to continue. Now, because I've already authenticated it, I will have a list of forms here, and I'm just going to search for the sign up form. There it is. And we're going to press continue. And now, this is where, good side note, you're always going to want to have at least one row of test data in whatever you're testing. If not, Zapier will generate free, but I always like to have test data, so that's why I have those two responses baked in there. And now it's going to grab one of those samples, right? So here we go, right? It grabbed this let's see here, find new records. There should be actually other non-ones of these in there. Are they old? Did I resubmit them? That's okay. We can just use these. Cool. And now it's asking me, and I'm going to X out of this, right? So now the form is hooked up. So now anytime somebody submits something via this form, this Zap will know it. But now it's doing nothing with it. So what will it do? So we're going to start out really, really simple here. Okay. I'm just going to say, I want you to use email to just reply to this person who submitted this form. Real easy. So I'm going to go now, by the way, you can also have it create a draft so it doesn't send automatically for you. But if you want to just send and you trust it, you can do that. So I'm just going to go, send email. And I'm going to use my Zapier account. And now it's asking for, okay, well, you want to send an email. What do you want to be in the email? There's two types of data you can enter into these boxes. They're what called hard-coded and variable, and you can combine them. So for from name, right, it already knows my from name, but let's just say I want to make it, I'd rather people call me Phil than Philip, right? Which is what comes in my Zapier thing. So I can make my from name Phil Lakin. Because I typed it, it's hard-coded, that will be the same every time. For the subject, I'm just going to say the same thing every time. Follow up with Phil. And for the body, I'm just going to say hi. Now, this is where I'm going to put in a variable. Anything you do in Zapier, it can grab data from any step or action or trigger before it. So we have their name from the form. So I'm going to press this little plus button or press slash. You can do it either way. Let me zoom out here so you all can see this. I'm going to say hi, and I'm just going to search for name, and I'm going to grab their full name and press comma. So now it'll insert their full name from the form. Would love to connect. Here's my Calendly link. And I definitely know how to spell. I'm like the worst at live, as Claudia will tell you. And I'm just going to put like calendly.com. Okay. And then I don't have to put a signature because it's hooked up to, remember, it's hooked up to my Gmail. So it has access to my default signatures. So I can use this signature. And then I can also put it in any label like, hey, this was one of the automatic things I sent out. So I can label it as well, right? So I can put like a label on there. If I want to put like, I think I have like a test label. No, but that's okay. But if I had a label for all these sales outreach, I could do that too. And then that's it. And then I press continue. And
I'm
now I'm
getting
going to test
a
the
lot of
step.
comments. I'm getting a lot of comments in terms of people that, because of the industry they work in, such as like federal agency or, security and whatnot.
Great question.
Yeah,
You, yep. Oh, I didn't put a to email. So, by the way, it's a required field. I'll answer that in one moment. The to email will simply be the email that they submitted, and I'll come back to that in a moment.
yeah,
Okay. So now I'm going to test it. While this is testing, great question. So Zapier is we are GDPR SOC 2 Type 2 and 3 and CCPA. We are not HIPAA compliant and we are not FedRAMP certified. Now, things that we're thinking about working on for sure. But in the meantime, there's other companies just like Zapier, like SnapLogic and Jitterbit that are HIPAA compliant. And there are other ones that the government does use that are FedRAMP certified. You would just have to search the term on the FedRAMP Marketplace iPass. I think there's like four of them. I think Boomi is one. There's a few of them. And they pretty much do the same exact thing. And you can use them. So I hope that helps on the regulation side. Um, let's see. To app return.
both at the
Oh,
same time. For
so
example, upon XYZ.
So check this out just real quick because I just used Zapier's like silly thing for configure here. Let me take a look here for setup and test. So one really cool thing you do in Zapier is if you're using dummy data, you can always go and edit that dummy data. So I can say their full name is, Ted, right? So this is a really cool trick that not a lot of people know about Zapier. You can edit dummy data into a modified record. And company name, I can make Apple. Here, let me actually do this. Let me make this like Tim Cook. He works at Apple. The company URL is, Apple. This is easier than just like submitting the form. Your role is CEO. Your email, and I'm just going to put my email, Phil, uh, Philip Lakin at Zapier.com. And then reason for outreach, you know, um, our CX team needs to know more AI workflows, right? Something simple. So I'm going to continue with this modified record now instead of the other one, right? So that way I actually have a real email to test. I'm going to go ahead and retest this. And now it's done. So now an email has been sent to me from me, right, saying, "Hi, Phil," right? Et cetera, et cetera. I'm going to stop sharing my screen. I'm going to bring that up for a second. Claudia, while I'm doing that, do you have any questions from the audience?
Yes, I was just replying to Caitlin, who's asking any pro tips for side hustlers using these or ways to really polish your skills while you're shaping your direction to grow your earnings. And I was just saying,
Yes.
start looking at platforms like Upwork or Contra or even LinkedIn, to be fair, to find simple gigs that you can start getting your hands dirty with. But also,
Yep.
the more practice you have, the better you'll build. And the better you'll build, the more trust and thought leadership you'll generate around your name, which will naturally link you to bigger project and bigger
Yeah.
contracts and potentially a full-time role. So
So not only that, I think that's awesome. Here's the thing that I tell people who are starting out on this front. Uh, Go to people locally, restaurants, mom and pop shops, hardware stores, right? Local businesses, and just say to them, the best way to learn this stuff is to solve real life hands-on problems. And just like say, hey, I would like to build one automation or one AI tool to help you with your business for free, just so you can solve a real world problem, and then just figure it out and do that problem. And then if they're blown away, that's an easy 500, 500 buck a month retainer, right? Like, and you can build those up. Like, but if you make a no-brainer offer to folks like that, that's just be like, hey, I'm starting my career in this front. Like, I'm looking for a few businesses to just help with AI and automation. There's something I can automate or bring AI into that's currently manual or you hate the systems for that I can just help you build. And you'd be shocked how many people just say yes to that. So that's where I
yeah,
would start.
Something else that I'd say as well, look at your own practice, look at your day to day, and look at the things you can optimize for yourself. The moment you do that, document what you're doing and share it on socials. Like document, share that learning, because just like what Phil is saying, you have no idea like how many people could resonate with that simple problem you just solved for in your day to day.
Yep. And so I'm going to kind of speed through the rest of this to make sure we cover it all. And then I'll come back for questions at the end of it. But like, look, the reality is probably 50, 60, 70, 80% of you, I don't know what the number is, have probably built or know exactly what I was doing. And that's like baby steps 101. For other of you, this might be brand new. But now this is where it gets interesting. So a lot of people, when they have AI, they go to ChatGPT, which is great. But what I want this automation to do is go to ChatGPT for me without me. So what we're going to do is I want a better version of this email than just like the hi first name canned response. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to add a step. And we have this thing called AI by Zapier that you can use any model you want, right? I mean, we pretty much have all of them here listed, right? But I'm just going to use 4.0 mini. Um, and how this works, right, is it requires two things: input fields, if you have them, you don't need them, but if you have them, and a prompt. And so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you how I use Zapier's AI modal. So I don't have to go and talk to ChatGPT to write a custom email. It can do it for me. So what I'm going to say here is something like, for input fields, I'm going to give this field a name. So I'm going to say, uh, full name, right? And I'm going to choose a field value. I'm going to press slash, and I'm going to search for the name. And so now this will know that, cool, part of this prompt is going to be this full name, and the variable is going to come from the form. I'm going to add another field that says company, and then we're going to put in slash company here, and it's going to be company. So I'm telling it what each thing is. I'm going to add, and this one day should be less manual. We do it for output fields. We don't do it for input fields yet. I'm going to do another one, company URL, and I'm going to put company URL. And this is all we need for now. And, maybe I'll add role. Last one will be role. So we're going to do add a field, role, add value, slash role, CEO, great. And now we are done. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to write a prompt. So I'm going to use Super Whisper to do this. I want you to write an email to this person. I am the head of enterprise innovation at Zapier. I sell our enterprise programs where we help with full AI adoption across either different teams or companies, starting with hands-on workshop builds, going all the way up to C-suite strategies, department level leaders. So we use Zapier as the tool, but we have entire year-long trainings and AI adoptions things on that front to help companies go AI first and bring Shopify's leaked memo to life. That's what we do. I want you to write an email back to this person who and bring relevant internet research you do about them and what they do and who they are and why they reached out to write an email and a subject line. Those should be your outputs. Cool. And I'm also going to add here as a field um, reason for outreach. And I'm going to put so we can get that from him too. Reason for outreach. Great. So even though I give it that long thing, you shouldn't ever be giving like prompts that are programmatic and being constantly used like this. You should never give it your own prompt. What you should do is you should start by saying your own prompt or writing your own prompt. But then, and by the way, we just made this easier in Zapier. We can do this any platform by just asking ChatGPT or some free LLM, like improve my prompt for me. But we just built it in because it's easier. I'm now going to tell AI, this is you should understand what I want from what I just said. Make a better prompt here that you would be better at understanding. And so now it gave me this huge, awesome prompt that I can review and I can go generate a preview. And now what it's going to do is it's going to generate an email and a body of an email instead of just like, hey, Tim, hey, first name, we should book a call. So here it is. Hi, Tim. Hope this message finds you well. As a head of enterprise. I understand your customer
Question in
experience.
terms Phil, sorry to interrupt. We have a
Yeah.
question in terms of the AI model,
Yeah.
and so Helen's asking, can you auto route the AI model to reasons, knowing it's the best for the task and not having to edit when your versions are released?
Yes. Yes. So we have a tool in Zapier called Right Diamond, I think, or something like that. I'll have to find it. But it's a tool in Zapier that will, it's a connector that we have that before the Zap got to here, it could find the best model to send it to. Yeah, based on what it is.
Also, I'd like to add that the reason why we don't also add the model, I believe, is because
Oh, no, we did. We added a model here.
no, but not automatically. Like Zapier doesn't recommend. I don't
Yeah,
think.
we don't recommend a model. We have a default of just GPT 4.0, but like you can choose whichever one
And
you
the
want
reason
and
is
throw out a
because
Google
it
search.
depends on your use case, because like all of these tools, like the reason seeing Phil using GPT-4o for this particular use case doesn't mean that you should be using 4o for something that has to do with calculation, for example, because that could be a different model that's better suited for that particular use case. And that's the reason why we don't push for any particular model and we let you choose which one is the best fit for what you're
Yeah,
doing.
and you can use that router to help you. Claudia, maybe if you want to do some research, I think it's called like Right Diamond or something like that. If you can search it on the integration, it's the AI router. In the meantime, so we have this. I feel pretty great about this, but there's one more thing I have to do. I have to generate uh, my output fields. So I want to make new tokens that I can use later on as variables in the email, right? So right now it's just generating these output fields for me. So it gave me, I don't need recipient name. I don't need their role. I don't need their background. Um, email, greeting, introduction, connection to, no, I don't like these as much. It's like taking a guess and I'm like, the subject line I want to keep. So let's just add one more and just say email body with, okay. And I'll say text and I'll say, um, make this the email body with no signature. And this is required. Save. And I'll edit this one. This is also going to be required. Great. And now I'm going to generate a preview. And instead of just giving me the whole email back like it did from this prompt, it's now going to give it back to me in fields so that I can then use those fields later on. And y'all, this is how, see, there's the email subject line, right? It custom wrote it for him based on the prompt and based on the information we got from him. And it wrote the email, right? Without putting my signature in it, just said best regards. Great. So now if somebody submits this, right? And let's go here back to Gmail. I'm going to click into Gmail. Now I'm going to use the subject. I'm going to get rid of that, right? The hard coded thing that's the same every time. And because that AI step is before this, I can just press slash subject. And there's the subject line. And I can get rid of this whole thing, even including the hi first name, press slash email. And here's the email body. And now anytime somebody submits that form, now this new thing is going to happen. So now we've brought AI, the power of AI into a workflow, and I didn't have to go and use ChatGPT every single time. So that's pretty cool. But now we're going to take you to the third step, right? Which is a totally separate thing called agents. And so we're going to go to a different screen here for a minute, and then we're going to come back to this because we're going to bring the agent into this workflow. The cool thing about Zapier is that we don't force you to choose agents or workflows. You can actually choose the best for each part of the job and combine them. If you've ever seen someone be like, here's my 40-person agentic thing that replaced my full company and I make $10 million a year on LinkedIn, common agent to get my agentic employees. This is literally all they're doing. Okay? It's not that complicated. So let's build our first agentic employee. And I'm not going to go into the difference here between when you should use an agent versus a workflow. It's a much larger conversation. Feel free to ask me questions on LinkedIn or whatever you have, or shoot me a DM or whatever. But let's just go right into agents, just for sake of time. So an agent works like this. I'm going to give it a job like I would give an intern. So I'm going to talk to it. Your job is to take all the fields that I give you from a sign up form, do some internet research based on this person, and see how good of a fit they are for me, given what I do at Zapier. I'm mainly looking to work with companies that are, at least 5,000 people. They need AI transformation. There's recent articles about the AI transformation efforts internally at their company would be a good signal. Anything that would publicly signal via the web to you that that person or that company is looking for that type of help. Unlike anything related to AI transformation, where we help their whole company get AI first. Now, what I want you to do, your job is to not only do that internet research, but then return to me if they are an amazing fit, a maybe fit, or not a fit. That is your job, is to basically put them in one of those three buckets with all the information that you have. Cool. So this intern is basically doing this new job this intern is two jobs. Do internet research on the person. The AI couldn't really easily do that well itself as an AI step, like live internet research, and then give me what bucket they should be in. Oh, and give me reason why you put them in that bucket because you want to see how AI
Ajay says,
thinks.
I will not get over feel casually talking to the air to build a zap.
It's my
We
favorite.
all had to get used to that, Ajay. We love it.
I'm a verbal processor. I hate typing, so like this new advent of AI is like it's a big win for me. So now, very similar to like the prompt generator before, it's taking my cruddy prompt and turning that into a better prompt for the agent. And what an agent is simply a few things. It's just a trigger like a Zap has, right? And then instead of a workflowy type of thing, it's just a job description and some access to some of your tools. That's it. That's all it is. So now what it says is, cool, these are the instructions to follow. Great. And I know that I know that it could need access to the internet, but let me show y'all one other thing here. Let's say if I had a CRM and live and hooked up and I wanted it to also search my CRM. Um, so first of all, for add trigger, I'm going to say it has to be triggered via Zap. And then for, let's do this, agent preview. Great. Um, I can add tools to this, right? So let's say another step here between, if they're a fit or not is I want you to do internet research. I could add a whole nother thing here where I say, I want you to search HubSpot for any information we have about this person. I can just add HubSpot and they can search all of my HubSpot for me. If I wanted to update certain HubSpot fields, I can have it do that too and just give it instructions. If I wanted to search an Airtable database, if I wanted to look at their specific website, right, I can do that as well. But right now, it's just doing some internet research and giving me back some stuff, right? And it already has the tools built in to do that. But just to be safe, I can also add that right at the bottom. I can add these two things, but it usually just adds those by default anyway. So now I'm going to go agent preview. And the first thing it's going to ask me is like, because now the agent is not yet hooked up to the Zap. Hey, Phil, like, who should we do this for? Right? So there it's asking for. I'm saying Tim Cook at Apple. And now it's going to give me, so in this side chat, I can talk to the agent to both test it. And if I want to update any of the instructions, I'm never going to go into this side over here and update the instructions myself. I'm always going to ask the agent to update its own instructions for me by saying, hey, can you update this? Can you change that? Whatever. Right. So now we're seeing the agent do some thinking. The agent went on Google, did some Google searches based on my intent, et cetera, et cetera. It's looking up some news articles. That's great. And the goal of this thing is just to return to me two fields, which are what is their fit and why. I'm just going to stop here in about a moment. Um, cool. So it says, here's the information we got. Tim Cook. Here's all the criteria it meets. By the way, you get even more fine-tuned with your criteria here. You can even link out a doc saying, search all my ICP information from this whole folder, glean it from this folder. It can do that too. Um, great. So it's saying, here's information. Highest priority, great. Recommended approach, awesome, great. So this is an amazing fit, and here's the reasoning. Awesome, great. So now what I'm going to do is I am going to, very simply, now that this agent is live and working, I am going to go back to my Zap. I'm going to add another step between here and Gmail called agents. By the way, if the trigger for your agent is not triggered by Zap, it will not show up here. It's a big mistake a lot of folks run into, including myself the first time I did it. And so I'm going to call out to an agent.
Phil, what
And I'm
was
going
the
to,
size of the company, the employee number? You did the 140K
I said
contract.
five, at least 5,000. And it found out that Apple was 16,000. So it said that was part of the reason it gave good fit. So the agent input message, right, is just simply going to be all of these things, right? So it's going to be, you know, name, company, URL, right,
The question about the
etc. And I would
speed.
just keep adding fields here. Now, the one trick you have to do here is you have to do something like this. So the AI knows what the heck you're talking about. It's not just saying Tim Cook Apple, right? It's like it could probably figure it out, but I still like to do this to be safe. URL, company, right? And I would add all the two or three other fields here, but for sake of time, I'm going to skip that. Do I want to pause the Zap? Yeah, I don't want the rest of the Zap to run. I want it to wait for this, and I'll show you why in a moment. And the output fields are going to be two fields. Uh, uh, Fit type, not a fit, maybe amazing. This is why I talk and I don't type usually. Um, Amazing. And then I'm going to add another value set, which is y. And I'm just put reason for score. And then that's it, y'all. Let's take a look here. Continue finish required fields. Oh, agent. I gotta choose the agent. That would make sense. A transformation lead evaluator, which is I'm pretty sure just the one I built. And then I would just press continue. I'm gonna skip the test for now because the test for agents take longer, so you have to test them through an actual workflow. But I'm gonna press continue. I'm gonna X out of here. And now what's happening is someone's submitting the Google form. We're sending an email to them, right? We can always switch these two, and then the agent is how do you say? Uh, the agent is oh, sorry, I did that. Okay, so the agent is doing all that qualification for me, and then the next thing I would do after this, just so y'all know, I'm not going to fully build it out, but I would then put paths here, right? That would say I would have three paths: good fit, not good fit. So amazing fit, I would email them. Not good fit, I'd probably drop them onto a sequence. Maybe a fit, I would add what we call here at Zapier our Slack approval step, where it could send me a Slack message and ask me, give me the data and say, do you want to approve it or not? And it's just called, this is the step, request approval. So I would just do that. And then it would push it down one of those paths. Y'all know how to build agents. Y'all know how to build agentic workflows. Now you got to take your generalist knowledge, combine it with this, and take it down any of those paths. And if you have any questions on that front, you can let me know. If there's some top level questions that people have now, I would love to answer them. And then the only other thing is a lot of folks say, like, what's the best way to stay in touch with you after this? I used to say LinkedIn, and it still kind of is, but like LinkedIn has also gotten like it's like really hard to separate signal from noise on LinkedIn. So I started a completely free SMS group. If you're global, it goes over email. I'm soon going to switch to WhatsApp one day. But in the meantime, this is a totally free thing, and I send 2 to 3 SMS drops every single week here with things like giving away books on this front, resources that I haven't made public yet, job opportunities for generalists and GTM folks. If you want to get hired somewhere, you can always send me a text back saying, hey, I'm looking for a role in this, and I'll post about you to the rest of the people here. So, like, this is just a way for me to help the community. And, like, this is the best way that if you sign up for this to ask questions to me because I'm much faster answering via text.
Mhm.
So, that's that. Questions, thoughts, happiness?
Let me add it to the chat. I did take a screenshot of Natasha's message at some point. She was like, "Sweet baby Jesus, this is glorious," which made me laugh. I have to take a screenshot of that. Amazing. Well, Phil, that's incredible. I always love to see the reaction, when people get to see that journey between, okay, here's our Zap, here's an automation, here's the Zap editor, and then here's agents. And actually, let's blow your minds. And yeah.
I always want to get hands-on with folks. The combination of this hands-on knowledge and what y'all already do, repackaged in the right way down any of those paths, you're going to be golden. If you have any questions about this, I'm answering texts all day long about this stuff. I don't charge for it, right? Like, just ask me, right? Like, I was lost in this front for a really long time. So anyone that's in this journey, I'm always game to help. Claudia will tell you. And so Sign up for the text message and do that. Or if you don't want to do that, then just DM me on LinkedIn. I'm pretty good on like LinkedIn DM also. So, AJ, anything else from your end?
I mean, I am speechless as well, like others. We definitely had amazing, throughout throughout this week, we had amazing tools, but this was obviously a great combination of how you think about and how you manage your general skills as well. So thank you so much for the conversational start as well. I think that was like really important. Well, my bit is thanking everyone for coming. Thank you, Phil and Claudia, for this amazing session, obviously, but also
Yeah.
thanks everyone for attending, for your comments on the chat. We have 2 more sessions tomorrow. And also, I just shared the LinkedIn link, post link on the chat, sharing again. Come hang out and connect with each other,
Yay.
connect with us. Um,
Um, AJ, I've got to jump just because I have a 1 o'clock, but I just wanted to say just thank you for having us here, and like y'all were incredible, and I can't wait to jam with you and help push you down like for not push you down, push you more up. I would say your journeys. I can't wait to really just tell you that raw shit right now. I really can't wait to just like help you on your journeys. It literally just gives me joy. It's why I do it so much and why I do stuff like this. So, oh, and by the way, I have this really other cool thing to sell you. I have a course. I'm kidding.
no, we love it. We love it. I think the outcome of this session is that it's just generalists will figure out how to take over the world. That's what I'm getting.
Let's
Um,
go. All right, later,
If
y'all.
you need help as well, like we have a free community. I'll send a link in the chat. It's a free Discord with yours truly. So we do host monthly co-building sessions, and we're very active, just like the generalist world. So yeah, come and hang out. Thank you
yeah.
all so much for joining us.
Claudia is the best. So, right, we're going to send all the links on the post event email as well. Great. Have a great rest of your days, everyone. See you all tomorrow. Bye.
Bye.